Welcome to Dreamland Sleep. My name is Alice, your host, and I will be taking you on your journey tonight. Once upon a time in the ancient land of Greece, there was a young man named Perseus. Born of Zeus, the king of gods, and Danae, a mortal woman, he carried a unique blend of divine power and human spirit. His mother, the beautiful Danae, was the daughter of King Perseus of Argos. A prophecy had foretold that her son would one day kill him. Thus, the fearful king locked her in a bronze tower to prevent any man from reaching her. However, the mighty Zeus, charmed by her beauty, descended in a shower of gold and conceived Perseus. Years passed, and King Perseus discovered his daughter's child, realizing the prophecy was in motion. In his fear and rage, he cast Danae and her infant son adrift in a wooden chest, hoping the sea would do what he could not: eliminate his feared end. However, fate, guided by the unseen hand of Zeus, carried them safely to the remote island of Seriphos. On this isle, a kind fisherman named Dictys found the mother and child. Dictys, a brother to the king Polydectes who ruled Seriphos, brought them to his humble home, and there they found refuge. He raised Perseus as his own, teaching him to fish, to be a man of virtue and strength. Perseus, under the tutelage of Dictys, grew into a courageous young man. His heritage was evident in his quick mind, his strength, and a certain spark in his eyes that revealed a touch of the divine. As the years turned like the pages of a book, Perseus blossomed into a handsome young man, protective of his mother Danae, the epitome of bravery and chivalry. His courage and strength became renowned throughout the island, and stories of his deeds were whispered with awe. However, his reputation, his charm, and his mother's beauty didn't go unnoticed by King Polydectes. The king was a tyrant, cold and cunning, ruling Seriphos with a fist of iron. His eyes were set on Danae, but Perseus's courage and strength stood as a barrier between his cruel intentions and the innocent woman. Realizing the potential threat Perseus posed to his desire, Polydectes hatched a devious plan. Under the guise of marrying another woman, he demanded a wedding gift from every man on the island. The king knew well that Perseus, having been raised in a humble home, had no riches to offer. As the days stretched into weeks, the island of Seriphos buzzed with the news of King Polydectes' forthcoming wedding. The sense of celebration was infectious, touching every soul except one, young Perseus. Living in seclusion with his mother, Perseus knew well that his humble circumstances would not permit him to bring a worthy gift for the king. The weight of expectation was heavy on his youthful shoulders, instilling a sense of desperation in him. One sunny afternoon, Perseus found himself amidst the bustle of Seriphos' main square, where the island's men gathered, proudly discussing the grand gifts they planned for the king. The sniggering glances and whispered ridicule directed at Perseus stung him more than he cared to admit. An uncanny silence fell upon the square as King Polydectes himself made his way into the crowd. His majestic presence commanded respect and awe. His eyes, however, held a malicious glint as they fell upon Perseus. In his most booming voice, the king addressed the crowd. "Men of Seriphos, I am delighted to witness your enthusiasm. However, there is one amongst us who has yet to declare his gift." All eyes turned to Perseus, and a soft murmur spread across the square. Seized by a sudden rush of anger and embarrassment, Perseus shot back, "O mighty king, I may not have gold or jewels, but I am willing to bring you any gift that you desire." King Polydectes' face broke into a sly grin. "Very well, Perseus, I have a special task for you. Fetch me the head of Medusa, the Gorgon with hair of serpents, whose gaze can turn men to stone." A gasp echoed through the crowd. Medusa was known to all, a terrifying creature whose very name caused the bravest hearts to quiver. Murmurs of disbelief and fear swirled around Perseus, their waves crashing onto his defiant stand. Yet within Perseus, a fire had been lit. His youthful heart pounded with determination. He was the son of Zeus, after all. He would not be cowed by an impossible task, nor would he back down from a challenge. With a resolute nod, he addressed the king. "Your wish shall be fulfilled, King Polydectes. I will bring you the head of Medusa." His words, brimming with resolve, hung heavily in the silent square. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, Perseus set forth from the island of Seriphos, leaving behind the echoes of disbelief. His journey was not just a quest for the Gorgon's head, but a pursuit of honor, a stride towards manhood, and above all a path to protect his mother from the wicked intentions of King Polydectes. Every footfall seemed to echo his unspoken vow. The head of Medusa would belong to King Polydectes. As he sailed away from his home, the stars twinkled brightly overhead, watching, waiting, and whispering tales of what was to come. Little did Perseus know then that this quest would carry him far beyond the mortal realms and into the heart of the myth itself. For ahead lay encounters with gods, monsters, and a destiny that would forever etch his name into the annals of Greek mythology. Perseus stood at the brink of the unknown, his heart echoing against his ribcage like the beat of a war drum. He had boasted with the audacity of youth, pledging to bring back the head of Medusa, one of the 3 monstrous Gorgons, for King Polydectes. But now, standing at the precipice of his journey, the reality of the impossible task began to dawn on him. He shook his head, as if to rid himself of these uncertainties. He had been named after the ancient word for destroyer, after all, and he would not be bested by fear. Yet, as he gazed upon the sea, the moonlight glistening on the undulating waves, he couldn't help but feel trepidation gnawing at him. He was just a mortal, son of a god though he might be, about to face a beast that even the gods feared. Just as the threads of doubt began weaving themselves into a tapestry of fear, a bright light pierced the night sky. It streaked down to the earth before him, its luminance dissipating to reveal 2 divine figures. One was tall and robust, bearing a staff entwined with 2 serpents, and the other was a woman, her eyes glinting with wisdom, her head adorned with a helmet and an aegis resting on her arm. "Hermes and Athena," Perseus murmured, recognizing the divine messengers of Olympus. He knelt, eyes averted in respect, as the 2 gods approached him. "Hear us, Perseus, son of Zeus," Athena began, her voice echoing like a resonant bell. "Your quest is known to us, and we are here to assist you." Hermes stepped forward, a small smile gracing his lips. He held out a sword, its blade glinting with an almost ethereal sheen. "This is the sword of adamant, forged by the Cyclopes in the heart of Mount Etna. It can cut through anything, even the scales of a Gorgon." Perseus reached out, his fingers closing around the hilt of the sword. It felt almost weightless, like it was an extension of his arm. He gave it an experimental swing, and a thrill ran through him. With this sword, he felt like he could take on not just a Gorgon, but the world. "Now this," Athena held out a beautifully polished bronze shield, "is your protection. It can act as a mirror, reflecting Medusa's image. You must only look at her through this if you wish to avoid a stone-cold fate." Perseus accepted the shield, its polished surface acting as a perfect mirror. He could see himself, his eyes filled with newfound determination. "Remember, Perseus," Athena warned, her tone stern. "Medusa is not a monster to be underestimated. She was once a beautiful maiden, and then a victim, transformed into a hideous creature by my wrath. She is powerful and dangerous." Hermes placed a hand on Perseus's shoulder, his eyes full of mirth. "Fear not, young hero, you have our blessings. And remember, courage does not mean the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." With that, the two divine figures disappeared, leaving Perseus alone once again with the sword of adamant in his hand and the mirrored shield strapped to his arm. The feeling of trepidation that had been gnawing at him seemed to subside. The way forward was perilous, fraught with danger and uncertainty, but he was no longer a mere mortal standing on the brink of the unknown. He was Perseus, the son of Zeus, armed with divine weapons and guarded by divine wisdom. In his heart, he carried a newfound conviction. He had promised to bring the head of Medusa, and he would fulfill his vow. The night seemed less dark now, the wind less cold. He took a deep breath, his grip tightening around the sword, and his eyes reflecting the gleam of determination. This was just the beginning of his journey. The road ahead was long and the goal perilous, but Perseus knew he would not back down. The gods were with him. Victory would be his. The stars seemed to twinkle in approval as Perseus, taking one last look at his homeland, turned away and embarked on his quest. The fate of his journey was uncertain, but the son of Zeus was resolute. He would return triumphant, or he would not return at all. Perseus, after receiving guidance from the divine Athena and Hermes, embarked upon the next phase of his perilous quest. He journeyed towards the ends of the earth to the den of the Grei, the three sisters who were born with grey hair, sharing between them a single tooth and a single eye. Their names were Dano, Enyo, and Pemphredo, and they were as ancient as the ocean itself. They were the sisters of the Gorgons, and were known for their wisdom and their prophecy. It was said that they knew the way to the Nymphs of the North, the beings who held the possessions essential for Perseus to confront Medusa. The way was long and treacherous, fraught with challenges that tested Perseus's resolve and cunning. He journeyed through uncharted territories, across arid deserts, and through treacherous mountains. The gods had offered him divine assistance, but this part of his journey he had to make alone. His resilience and courage, his only companions. After many days and nights, Perseus arrived at the Grei's dwelling, a cave hidden in a jagged cliff by the sea. It was a desolate place, imbued with a chilling aura. Here he saw the three hunched figures, huddled together, passing the singular eye between them, observing the world beyond their abode. Perseus watched from the shadows, assessing the situation. He understood that confronting the sisters directly might not yield the results he desired. His encounter with the Graeae would require cunning rather than brute force, a test of his intellect rather than his physical prowess. Silently, he approached the Graeae from behind, the soft sand muffling his footsteps. As the eye was passed between them, he saw his chance. Swift as the wind, he snatched the eye from their hands, just as one was passing it to the other. The sisters shrieked in surprise and fury, their hands grasping at the emptiness before them. "I have your eye," Perseus declared, stepping back and holding the eye high above their reach. "And I will only return it if you tell me the way to the Nymphs of the North." The Graeae gnashed their single tooth in frustration, their wrinkled faces contorting grotesquely. They knew they were cornered. They were powerful, yes, but their power was useless without their sight. They needed their eye. And so, they begrudgingly agreed to Perseus's terms. With a voice like the rustling of dead leaves, they gave him the directions to the dwelling of the Nymphs of the North. They spoke of a hidden path through the frozen peaks of the mountains to the north, of a cavern covered in icicles, shimmering like diamonds in the moonlight. They told him of the guardian beast he would have to appease, and of the words he would need to speak to gain the nymph's favor. Satisfied with the information, Perseus tossed the eye back to the sisters, who snatched it out of the air with surprising speed. He knew better than to trust them completely, but he was confident in his abilities and the divine assistance he had been granted. As he left the Graeae's den, he looked back once. The three sisters huddled close once more, their single eye staring after him with an unreadable expression. Shaking off an inexplicable shiver, Perseus turned away and began his trek towards the cold, unforgiving north. Ahead lay another arduous journey, but Perseus moved forward with a renewed sense of determination. He had overcome the challenge of the Graeae and had acquired the knowledge he needed. The next part of his quest awaited, and with it, a step closer to fulfilling his daunting promise of delivering Medusa's head. In the face of every challenge that lay ahead, Perseus remembered the words Athena had spoken to him. "Courage, Perseus, for your heart is pure and your purpose just. This is but one of many trials you must face on this path. But fear not, for you are the son of Zeus, and you have the blessings of the gods." With these words echoing in his mind, he trudged onwards, ready to face whatever the quest had in store for him. His journey was far from over, and his most significant challenges were yet to come. Little did he know of the perilous battles that awaited him, or the triumphant victories he would achieve. As dawn broke, Perseus found himself standing at the edge of the world, the realm of the Nymphs of the North. The nymphs dwelt in an ethereal landscape that seemed suspended between heaven and earth, bathed in an eternal twilight. It was a realm removed from the concept of time, with an otherworldly beauty that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The nymphs, also known as the Hyperboreans, were a race of immortals who lived in perpetual happiness. Their abode was shrouded in mystery, accessible only to a chosen few. When Perseus arrived, the nymphs greeted him with ethereal music from golden lyres, their gentle voices echoing in the crisp air. Their eyes, full of ancient wisdom, twinkled with mysterious light as they welcomed him, knowing why he had come. Without hesitation, they presented him with the gifts he would need to vanquish Medusa. The first was a pair of winged sandals crafted by the god Hermes himself. The sandals, glinting under the twilight, had wings on their heels and straps that shimmered like the night sky. They would allow Perseus to soar across vast distances and evade any danger that might lurk on the ground. The second gift was the Helm of Darkness, which belonged to Hades, the ruler of the underworld. It was a helmet wrought from obsidian, and as Perseus took it in his hands, it seemed to absorb the light around it. When worn, it granted its wearer the power of invisibility, an essential aid for confronting the deadly Gorgon. The nymphs then handed him the Kybissus, a magic sack woven by the fates. It was an ordinary-looking yet enchanted sack, spacious and sturdy, that could safely contain Medusa's severed head. Its inside was an enigma, holding far more than its outside suggested, and it would keep Medusa's deadly power contained. Perseus, accepting these gifts, felt a strange mix of hope and dread. These were divine instruments, their existence proof of the god's favor. But they were also reminders of the horrifying task he had sworn to complete. He could not help but feel his heart quicken and his grip tighten around the hilt of his adamantine sword. "Your path is a perilous one, Perseus," one of the nymphs spoke, her voice a gentle whisper in the wind. "Remember, Medusa is not a foe to be taken lightly. Even in death, her gaze holds the power to petrify. Use our gifts wisely and let wisdom guide your sword." Perseus nodded, his resolve hardening. "I am prepared to face the danger," he declared, his voice echoing through the otherworldly landscape. "For my mother, for my honor, I will bring down the Gorgon." As he donned the winged sandals and placed the Helm of Darkness upon his head, Perseus felt an exhilarating surge of power coursing through him. He felt lighter, faster, and the world around him seemed to blur and sharpen at the edges. The nymphs, the realm, everything seemed to fade into shadows, and for a moment he felt as if he were part of the wind, unseen yet omnipresent. With the Kybissus safely strapped to his side, Perseus took a deep breath, savouring the crisp air one last time before he took off. The nymphs watched in silent admiration as the young hero soared into the sky, his figure disappearing into the twilight. Perseus, now armed with the god's gifts, was ready to face the formidable Medusa. Unseen and swift as the wind, he navigated his path, his heart thudding in his chest as he drew closer to his deadly destination. As the terrain below morphed from verdant lands to craggy, desolate cliffs, he knew he was nearing the lair of the Gorgons. His journey had begun as an impossible task, a sentence devised by a vengeful king. Yet with every beat of his wings, Perseus felt himself draw closer to his quarry, and perhaps closer to his destiny. And though the shadow of Medusa loomed ahead, the son of Zeus flew onward, armed with divine gifts and the courage of a true hero. The landscape changed dramatically, as Perseus, propelled by the winged sandals of Hermes, journeyed to the island at the edge of the world. The land was silent and eerily desolate, stripped of life and colour by the destructive power of the Gorgons. Medusa, with her snake-crowned head and petrifying gaze, was the last and the most lethal of the sisters. Guided by the sacred items bestowed by the gods and nymphs, Perseus hovered silently over the Gorgon's lair, a grotesque stone garden that was once a forest teeming with life. Each stone figure, frozen in eternal terror, served as a grim testament to Medusa's power. Among these statues of despair, Perseus found Medusa, her body coiled menacingly even in slumber, surrounded by her reptilian hair hissing softly. His heart pounded heavily against his chest, a rhythmic drum echoing his fear and resolve. The helm of darkness shrouded him in invisibility, and his sword, gleaming ominously, felt solid and comforting in his grasp. Carefully, Perseus angled Athena's mirrored shield to gaze upon Medusa's reflection. A shudder coursed through him as he beheld the grotesque visage. A once beautiful maiden now transformed into a monster, her beauty replaced by features so hideous it could transform the living to lifeless stone. Despite the paralyzing fear that threatened to overcome him, Perseus pressed on. Medusa's fearsome reputation was renowned, but so was his courage. His mother's safety was his strength, and his promise to King Polydectes his motivation. With silent prayers to his divine father Zeus and the guiding goddess Athena, he approached the sleeping Gorgon, his breaths measured and quiet, his movements precise and calculated. Each step was an eternity, each second a dance with death. The shield's reflection became his eyes, guiding him through the labyrinth of treacherous stone. He could feel the charge in the air, the hisses of Medusa's hair growing louder as he neared his target. When he was close enough, he tensed his muscles, gripped his sword with a steady hand, and raised it high. Time seemed to halt. There was only him, the sleeping Gorgon, and the ghastly choir of snakes whispering danger. With a silent cry to the gods, he brought the sword down in one swift, decisive stroke. The cavern echoed with a terrible, unearthly cry as the sword sliced cleanly through the Gorgon's neck. The snakes writhed and hissed, their mistress decapitated. The body of the Gorgon jerked and thrashed before it went unnaturally still. Perseus, his heart pounding like a war drum, dared to look directly at his defeated foe, the severed head unable to harm any longer. The sight that met his gaze then was nothing short of extraordinary. From the lifeless remains of the Gorgon sprung two forms. One was a giant Chrysaor, golden sword in hand. The other was a magnificent winged horse, Pegasus, whose coat shimmered ethereally under the dim light. Perseus stared in wonder and awe as the creatures born of blood and violence fled the scene. Without wasting another moment, he lifted Medusa's severed head, the snake still hissing menacingly, and placed it into the cabesis, the magic sack provided by the nymphs. Despite the victory, there was no time to rejoice, for he could hear the anguished cries of Stheno and Euryale echoing through the stone lair. The sisters were waking. Perseus, with a final glance at the eerie stone garden, steeled himself for the upcoming chase. He had won the battle with Medusa, but his journey was far from over. The heroic son of Zeus, with the head of Medusa safely in his possession, took off into the sky just as the furious sisters discovered the lifeless body of their beloved sister. This was his first taste of victory, a testament to his courage and the divine favor bestowed upon him. Yet, his trials were far from over. With a grim set to his jaw and determination in his heart, he flew into the night, ready to face whatever else his journey demanded of him. Following the decapitation of the dread Gorgon, Perseus found himself at the heart of a tempest. Medusa's sisters, Stheno and Euryale, shrieked with a fury that shook the chambers of the underworld. The air turned dense with their rage, dark as a starless night, and heavy with a bloodlust that dwarfed the terror of their deceased sister. Armed with winged sandals and the helm of darkness, Perseus slipped away into the obsidian abyss, leaving behind the lair of the Gorgons. His heart pounding in his chest, Perseus soared over the moonlit seas, the roars of the Gorgons echoing in the distance. Tucked safely in the cabyssus was Medusa's head, its serpentine locks frozen mid-hiss. The once proud, monstrous beauty now reduced to an eerie trophy. Perseus dared not to look upon it, for fear its deathly stare might still hold sway. As he navigated the black canvas of night, his heart gradually regained its rhythmic pace. Perseus scanned the vast expanse of water below him and spied the distant outlines of a foreign land. As he drew closer, he saw a startling sight. A young woman of ethereal beauty was bound to a rock by the sea. Her white gown, adorned with precious gems, clung to her body like a second skin. She was a vision of celestial grace, a stark contrast to the monstrous terror he'd just witnessed. Perseus descended, his curiosity piqued. He learned her name was Andromeda, daughter of Queen Cassiopeia and King Cepheus, and she was to be sacrificed to a sea monster as punishment for her mother's boastful vanity. The despair in her sapphire eyes evoked a profound sense of injustice within Perseus. His heart swelled with resolve. He would not leave this innocent to such a monstrous fate. He waited, concealed behind the veil of the helm of darkness. When the sea monster arose from the depths, a gargantuan leviathan that roared defiance at the heavens, Perseus took to the skies. He soared high, his sword gleaming under the sun. Then, like a hawk diving for its prey, he swooped, plunging his sword into the beast's eye. The sea around them frothed and bubbled as the creature writhed in pain, its screeches echoing across the land. When his sword seemed insufficient, he pulled forth his last weapon. Uncovering Medusa's head, he aimed her petrifying gaze at the beast. As the monster turned to stone, the sea calmed, and the cries of despair from the onlooking crowd turned into gasps of disbelief, and then cheers of joy. Perseus returned to the shore, carrying the limp form of Andromeda in his arms. The people, initially dumbstruck by the miraculous event, erupted into cheers of gratitude. The damsel, no longer in distress, looked up at her saviour with tear-filled eyes. In that moment, their hearts intertwined, sowing the seeds of a love that would blossom in the days to come. Their union was celebrated with grandeur, and their tales of heroism spread across the lands. Perseus, the slayer of the Gorgon and the sea monster, became a symbol of courage and hope, Andromeda, the once doomed princess, was now the consort of a hero, her name synonymous with grace and strength. Together they embodied love and heroism, proving that even in a world ruled by gods and monsters, the power of the human spirit could prevail. Yet Perseus knew he could not bask in these victories for long. He had to return home to his mother and to confront the conniving king Polydectes. As he held Andromeda close, staring at the setting sun, he resolved to bring an end to the tyrant's reign. Armed with the love of his life by his side and the terrifying power of Medusa's gaze, he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. His journey was far from over, but the triumphs of his return journey would fuel his final task. After many tumultuous adventures, Perseus found his way back to his home on the island of Seriphus. His heart pounded in his chest, not out of fear, but anticipation. He had successfully obtained the head of the Gorgon Medusa, and had even found love on his journey. He was no longer the poor boy who left his homeland. He was a hero returning victorious. As he landed on the shores of the island, he hid Medusa's head in the cabesus, aware of the dangerous power he carried. His reunion with his mother Danae was bittersweet, her joy at seeing her son alive tainted with fear. She revealed to Perseus that King Polydectes had been tormenting her. His fake wedding was a ruse, and his actual desire was to marry Danae all along. Rage bubbled within Perseus as he listened to his mother's tale. The king's deception had triggered this dangerous quest, and Perseus resolved to make him pay. He didn't have to wait long. Polydectes, hearing of his return, summoned him to his court, expecting him to have failed his quest. At the court, Perseus found himself surrounded by the same men who had mocked him before his journey. Now they watched him with bated breath, their earlier scorn replaced with curiosity and trepidation. The king, seated on his throne, looked at him with thinly veiled impatience. With a bold voice that echoed in the silent hall, Perseus announced, "You asked for a gift, King Polydectes. I present to you the head of the Gorgon, Medusa." Unsheathing the cabesus, Perseus lifted Medusa's head high. He shielded his eyes, while all others present unwittingly gazed upon the lethal face. In an instant, the court was filled with grotesque statues. The king and his men turned to stone, their expressions of shock frozen forever. The islanders hailed Perseus as their savior, finally free from the cruel king. His mother, relieved and proud, embraced her son, the simple fisherman who had turned into a hero. With his beloved Andromeda by his side, Perseus found peace, knowing he had protected his home and those he loved. But Perseus knew he had one more duty to fulfill. The divine gifts that had assisted him in his quest needed to be returned. Using the winged sandals, he visited the Nymphs of the North, returning their magical items. He visited the Graiai, giving them back their shared eye, their gratitude a stark contrast to their initial reluctance. Lastly, he sought out Athena and Hermes, returning the shield and the sword, expressing his deep gratitude for their divine help. "Your bravery and cleverness make you worthy, Perseus. You have made your father Zeus proud," Athena said, her gaze softening as she looked at the mortal hero. Back in Seriphus, Perseus settled into a life of peace with Andromeda, his reputation as a hero spreading far and wide across Greece. He proved to be a just and fair leader, revered by his people. He and Andromeda had many children, and their lineage included several famed Greek heroes. Perseus's life was an example of courage, wit, and the strength of the human spirit. His adventures became stories, passed down through generations, his bravery inspiring many. And when he finally left the mortal realm, his place amongst the stars was secured, his constellation a constant reminder of a hero who faced the impossible and emerged victorious. Thus, the tale of Perseus stands not just as a story of defeating monsters, but overcoming overwhelming odds. It serves as a reminder that sometimes the biggest trials bring out the true hero in us. And with perseverance, courage, and a little divine intervention, even the impossible becomes possible.